All right, moving right along. For h of x equals 2/3 times x minus 5, we need the value of x for which h of x equals a negative 7. Now, it doesn't say x equals negative 7. It says h of x. So remember that h of x is another word for y. So h of x equals 7. We're going to plug in that negative 7 right over here for h of x. Okay, so negative 7 is equal to 2/3 x minus 5. We need the value of x. Okay, so we're solving for x. Get x by itself. So first thing we're going to do is add 5 to both sides. Okay, and negative 7 plus 5. Different sign, subtract. So keep the sign of the larger number. We have a negative 2 equals 2/3 x. Uh-oh, we got a fraction now. Okay, now the operation going on between that fraction and the variable is multiplication, so we're going to do the opposite. We're going to actually divide by a 2/3 on both sides. Now, when we divide by a fraction, we say it's the same as multiplying by the reciprocal, or copy dot flip. So we are going to multiply by the reciprocal, or that fraction flipped, on both sides. So instead of dividing by 2/3, we're actually multiplying by 3/2. Okay, and when we do that, negative 2 is the same as negative 2 over 1. Okay, now this allows the 2/3 and the 3/2, those cancel each other out. So all we're left with is an x equals, if we cross reduce here, 2 and 2, they each go in, 2 goes into 2 one time. So if we multiply across the top, 3 times a negative 1 is a negative 3. Negative 3 over 1 times 1 is a 1. So we can just leave it as a negative 3. And that's our final answer. That's x. All right, a graph. Now, when we graph in here, we're going to make an input-output table. Okay, so on your graph here, or in your journal, make an x and a y. Now, for today, we're going to do 5 points. Okay, we're going to do negative 2, we're going to do negative 1, we're going to do 0, 1, and 2. Now, this is our input. These are our x's. Our output is what happens when you plug it into the function. So if we plug in a negative 2, we have 2 times a negative 2 plus 5. We're substituting in for x. So we have negative 4 plus 5. We get a 1. Okay, now 2 times a negative 1. We're just going to take turns plugging each of these in for x. That equals a 3. Okay, so we had a 1, we had a 3. Now if we plug in 0, 2 times 0 is 0. Anything times 0 is 0. Plus 5, we're getting a 5. We see a pattern going here. 1, 3, 5. This one should go up by 2 as well. 2 times 1 is 2. Plus 5, we get a 7. And our last one, 2 times 2 is 4. Plus 5, we get a 9. Okay, notice how those each go up by 2. These each go up by 1, so we know from last chapter it's going to be a linear function. Okay, so let's go ahead and graph it real quick. Okay, if we graph this, negative 2, let's put a couple tick marks in here. Okay, negative 2, 1. So we're going to go left 2, up 1. We're going to go left 1, up 3. We're going to stay at 0 and go up 5. We're going to go over 1 and up 7. And one more. We're going to go up to 9 over 2. Okay, now we're not going to connect those. We're going to leave it just like that. But notice it's a linear function. It's in a line.